Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Pageant Jumpstart. I am so thrilled to be here with you today for a special bonus training with this incredible woman who I have had the opportunity to meet only once in real life, but I feel like I know her because I've been following her on social media. If you haven't been following Mrs. Jennifer E. Lloyd yet on social media, y'all need to, okay? I'm going to drop her handle in here so that you can follow her. So one of the things I love about Jennifer is that, listen, every single stinking time that I see this woman, she looks like a supermodel. I am not even kidding you, okay? Her hair is beautiful. Her makeup is gorgeous. And this woman's outfits, okay, off the hook. Recently, she competed as Mrs. Korea World at the Mrs. World pageant, and she shared every day. She shared, I love when contestants do this, when they share, here's what happened today. And it's usually, it's not about like, oh, look how awesome I am. You know, like most women don't do it for that reason. They do it because they want to showcase the experience. And that's what Jennifer was doing. She was showcasing the experience. So you could see, oh, look, they're at dinner together. And oh, look, here's what it looked like to do this. And here, but I was like in love with her outfits. Oh my gosh, I know, Anne, I know, right? Stunning. Isn't she beautiful? So it was so much fun to follow her. I'm going to put for you gals right now, I'm going to put this in the chat just before we go any further so that you can check her work out. So what is awesome that you will find is that she is both a professional makeup artist and a professional photographer. So listen, you have to, if you're going to be a makeup artist and a photographer, you have to have an eye for what looks great. You would not hire a makeup artist or a photographer if they were like looking a hot mess, okay? Because you would want someone to know what they're doing. Am I right or am I right? Okay, so Jennifer is ya girl, okay? So she is based in Washington State, but she is joining us live right now. She's on with us right now, and she's going to be sharing with us. I mean, of course, listen, we're going to get to know her. We're going to learn a few makeup tips too. But one of the things that I really appreciate about her is that she's going to share with you today some makeup etiquette, okay? Because if it's your first pageant ever, or if it's the first time you've ever hired a professional makeup artist or photographer, there are some things that you can do in terms of etiquette in order to, first of all, not embarrass yourself in front of them. Okay, so these are going to be good things to know, but also to make sure that you get the look that you are looking for. Okay, you want that winning look. That's why you're paying lots of money to hire somebody, right? Because you want to look sharp. And so Jennifer Lloyd is going to be sharing with us exactly those tricks and tips, important things, okay? So if you are a note taker, you're going to heaven. That's what my pastor says. He's like, okay, so if you get out your pen and paper, because if you're a note taker, you're going to heaven. Okay, I tease. But seriously, you're going to want to write some of this stuff down. Okay, so without further ado, go ahead and follow her on that link that I posted in the comments. Do that first, and then come on back and join us to meet Mrs. Jennifer E. Lloyd. Thanks, Jennifer, for joining us. I'm so happy to have you here.
I can take a prescription of you every single day. I'm going to tell my doctor to dose that up right now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm super excited to be here with all of you today and also to get interviewed by the one and the only.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. Yes, my pleasure. Could you share with us, I'm just going to give you the floor, Jennifer, if you could share with us some of your makeup etiquette tips, having been in the industry and probably on both sides of the chair. Yes. Share with us some things that people can do so that they can get the winning look.
Absolutely. So what I think is most important is being on time. And I'm going to give you an example, ladies. It's like going to the spa. Okay. When you head to the spa, you want to get there probably about 45, maybe 30 minutes early before your appointment so that you can go into the locker room, casually remove your garments and, text your husband and say, I made it. Relax and you're sitting in the lounge. So the same with makeup artistry. If your appointment's at 9:30, it's best that you show up at 9 o'clock. And the reason why I say that is because oftentimes your artist will have either a hair person or maybe they just finished up a little bit earlier, or maybe you just need to get comfortable. And so it's best that you show up on time and, show up 20 minutes, at least 20 to 30 minutes before your scheduled time, and that would be considered time. And a lot of the times also artists will have multiple women on their schedule and you guys will be in a line. So the artist will need the flexibility to be able to either work on your eyes or touch up, and you want to make sure that you're there and you're not stressed out. So that would be my number one thing. Don't ever show up like late.
The worst.
About throwing money down the drain.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the biggest, worst mistake, and you will be so stressed.
Mm-hmm. And so will the artist. And then that doesn't leave any room for error. Then there's like,
Correct.
oh, look here, let me just, I can imagine as a makeup artist, especially like you mentioned, like during pageant week itself, it's just, you gotta be on it, because if you are even moments late, everybody has to be booked so quickly together, so tightly together, that you'd rather have more than enough time to sit and have a cup of coffee than not enough time.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's
okay.
Good. Okay, that's a good one.
Another
What's next?
Piece of advice that's really, really important is follow directions. And artists really prefer having a clean face. That means taking off the mascara from the night before. Exception is sometimes during pageant week, there are some artists that prefer you to leave your eye makeup on. I don't operate that way because I don't like crusty eyes, but some want you to do that. And that's something you'll have to discuss with your artist. But come with a clean face, which means that you have moisturizer on, preferably no sunblock, ladies, because the SPF in it actually gives you flashback in photos. So skip out on the sunblock that morning and just make sure you're highly moisturized and ready to go. No makeup on the face whatsoever. And also, clean hair is so important. If you're super stressed out, I don't know if you have this personally happen to yourself, but for myself, I get really super oily and the hair just goes so limp. So make sure that your hair is clean. During pageant week, there are exceptions because the hair works better when it's dirty. So as long as you're not super oily, I would say, don't have to wash it. But if you are oily, wash your hair and make sure you're ready to go. And if you know how to curl your hair, or straighten your hair, if that's the look, I would suggest getting a head start on that prior to going to the appointment, just so that, the artist has the final look and some extra time just to, add a little tweak here and there, because they are racing against time. And I want to say that they give you about an hour and a half per girl. So if you could do a little bit of touch up beforehand with the hair, that would always be helpful.
Yeah, that's good. So you don't just want to like rock up, you just wash your hair and let it kind of air dry, and then it's all kind of like kinking out of the place. And got it. That's good.
No, we don't want to do that. Don't come to the makeup room with wet hair.
Yeah. We're not going to dry bar here. So it's just the makeup area.
And then, no ponytail either. Don't put like your hair in a big ponytail. If anything, just use like a clip. To keep your hair out of your face. But nothing that's going to give you a dent in the hair.
Yeah, good. Yep. Wow, this is good. Okay, what else?
Okay, spray tans are so important. Oh my goodness. Everybody waits till they get to the pageant hotel to get a spray tan. But let me share something with you. Ulta, Sephora, Amazon has really great self-tanners, you guys. They come with mitts, and they also have this long, towel looking thing, and you go like this, like you're in the shower, and you can tan your back. I do my own tans. You can put the power in your own hands to tan yourself, ladies, and it's not that expensive. I think tanning products run like $50, and they're so great. They they're buildable, they're smarter now. Mm-hmm. They don't have that smell like they used to. You're not yellow anymore. But Saint Tropez is a really fantastic brand. Bali is a fantastic brand. So take the power in your hands, and you can give yourself a flawless tan. I've tanned myself several times at my national pageant in my bathroom in the morning. You don't have to spend $150 at the pageant venue and be all stressed out and sneak away in the bathroom to have someone tan you. You can do it yourself and be flawless. I did it, and I was very successful at it, and I think you can do it as well. Mm-hmm. And save money too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that tip because you're right to say, because many people competed when they were like a teen. And now they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and it's like, well gosh, that old, the old version was you had to lay in a tanning bed for months
Yes.
and months and months, which no one's
Right.
doing now. You shouldn't be doing now. But then there was the spray tanning era, and self tanners weren't really that great. But like you said, now the products are spectacular, and they're really made of high quality content, so you don't have to worry about
Correct.
your skin going wacko or something. I always
Right.
recommend do a test in advance. Like if it's the
True.
first time you've ever used a certain self tanner, do like a spot test months before your pageant and
Right.
then practice it, like just like
Right,
anything, to keep
exactly.
practicing it.
Practice
Yeah.
it. Right. And again, the technology is so smart. As soon as you apply these tanners, depending if you want to go dark or ultra dark, I chose ultra dark because I love just a really deep skin tone. They have these fantastic mitts, so you're not getting it all over your hands and getting splotches everywhere. And you could really have a fantastic look and an affordable price as well. Another big tip for tanning ladies, at Walgreens, there is a product called Sally Hansen, and it's a leg cover up. I use this a lot for my photo shoots when girls show up and maybe their tan is a little splotchy, or they didn't want to tan, but they want to look glowy. So I'll apply this tanning product. Excuse me, it's not a tanning, it's like a self bronzer. It is a little bit messy. It says that it doesn't transfer, but that's a lie. But if you want like an instant color to your skin, maybe you have some veins in your legs or bruises, maybe your tan's a little bit off, you can use that product. It comes in 4 different shades. I love the deep. Again, you can apply more for more coverage. And it's very cheap. I think it's only like $12 for a bottle, and it comes in either a spray can or it comes in like a bottle that looks like a lotion. But you guys, if you want like an instant tan and you're in a rush or you have to fix a mistake, that is a product, that's a go-to that I use all the time.
That's good. I just put the link to it in the comments. I use that too. The Sally Hansen Airbrush legs. Is that the one you're
Yes,
talking about?
yes.
Airbrush legs. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
love that. That's good. Can I ask you this? Would you do both? Would you do a spray tan and then the airbrush to kind of smooth, like, because the airbrush is really more like a foundation for the body, right? So would you use
Right.
both, or would you
I
only choose
did.
one or the other?
I did because I loved how my skin looked in photos with when I used that Sally Hansen on top of my tan. And again, it just gives you like this flawless look. I have scars on my legs. I have varicose veins. I mean, and I have cellulite. And for that product actually helps blur what's actually there. And
That's great.
it's you feel good, it looks good again, but just be careful, it transfers onto clothes. While if you're putting on something white, just you're gonna have to shimmy through those things really carefully so you don't stain your outfits. But the look is beautiful.
Yeah,
In the end.
that's
Yes.
right. That's good. That's good. Yeah, practice. It takes practice,
Yeah,
right?
practice.
Yep.
Practice, exactly. I think there's another brand on the market called Dermablend, and that's sold at Ulta, and I think that's you're talking about like triple the price. So definitely go to Walgreens.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's great. You know all these. Okay, cool. This is good. I feel like we're learning so much. I love these tips too. Okay, keep going. What's next?
All right. Okay, a pet peeve of mine is lash extensions, and I love the freedom of lash extensions. I've done it before because you could just, pop up out of bed and go on with your day and your lashes are all full. But I'll tell you what happens when you go to a pageant. Okay, lash extensions are good for about 3 days, but typically when you're on a nationals, you're there for a week. And all of a sudden the lashes have like a mind of their own and they're just kind of going this way and that way. And it's really difficult, especially for photography as well, because the lashes don't sit correctly on the eye, so they cover the whites of your eye. So for me, I prefer no lash extensions. And the reason why I say this as well is because there's so many fantastic lash strips, and everybody's eye is so different. You can completely change your look by changing the lash. So give the artist the opportunity to explore and to give you a really fantastic eye. I worked with Mrs. Jordan at Mrs. World. Her lash was coming off a few times. And I was so thankful that she trusts me. We were competing against each other, but we were like sisters, you know, in the locker room helping each other out. And, you know, I love the fact that with the lash extension, if there's any error, you can just, excuse me, with a lash strip, if there's any errors, you can fix it easily, you know, versus lash extensions, once they fall out, it kind of looks funny, you know. And when you're looking at someone who has missing eyelash extensions, it kind of keeps you a little busy, right? It's like it goes like this, and you're like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah, you're like, that's so true, Jennifer. Thank you for setting us free, because I'm not kidding you. I tried lash extensions, I don't know, a year or so ago, and I was like, I loved them for like the first 2 days that they were on, and then when they started falling out, I was like, they're like this. I was like, this is terrible, and I felt like, what am I doing wrong? Like, did I mess this thing up? And I was like, I will never. And it felt like when they all fell out, I was like, now I have all these baby lashes that need to grow back out. I was like, I've ruined my lashes. Like, what have I done?
Right.
You know? So, gosh, you just set me free there.
Right. It's definitely time consuming to have them installed and then maintain. And there's also freedom when you, at the end of the day, when you take your lashes off, it's like taking your bra off. You know? It's like, oh.
That's so true. Yes.
I'm my happiest when I have both off and I'm like free. So yeah. Girl, get that freedom going and get that lash strip.
That's so good. I love it. Oh my gosh. So do you have any particular brands that you prefer for the lash strips?
Okay, so my everyday lash strip would have to be that Ardell. Again, Walgreens, Target, they sell the wispies. Ladies, if you feel like they're kind of getting in your eye right here, don't be afraid to trim those babies. And you're going to want to trim them from the inside out, okay? So take your lash strip and then cut the inside and then measure it against your eye. And that will be more of a comfortable fit. And for like a heavier lash, I really have been loving Lisa Opie. I'm going to do a shout out here with Code Creatives. I shot with her in Miami and I had no idea about her products until she did my makeup. And I was just so intrigued with her palettes and her lashes. So I did buy a few lashes from her and I was wearing them at Mrs. World. So shout out to Lisa Opie for her lashes. But I've done Lily lashes. Again, those are really expensive. You can rewear them as many times as possible as long as you take good care of them. But I think my everyday would have to be Ardell for sure.
That's cool. That's good to know. Yeah. And I love that you did a shout out for Lisa Opie too. That's cool.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. I love that. Yeah. She's, cause it's, ladies listening. So Jennifer, of course, being a makeup artist, so is Lisa Opie. And so what she was doing right there is giving props to another makeup artist. This is the type of woman we have in front of us right now. Okay, y'all. I just want to make sure everybody knows that you character.
I have to share a couple secrets with you guys. So I love a good eyebrow. I think I specialize in eyebrows. And I started using the pomade that Anastasia had, and I noticed that, and I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but I noticed that the product turns white and it starts to get a little bit crusty, and I think it has to do with the coconut oil in the product because I read some reviews on it. Lisa has a very similar lash pomade, and it works fantastic. It was cheaper, and I'm using it today. My eyebrows look sleek right now because of her product line. And there's another palette that I have to give her major props for. I work with a lot of ladies that have hair loss. I have some hair loss as well. And we're always concerned about any spots or scalp showing. Her palette that she just came out with comes with different colors where you could fill in the hairline. And I thought that was just completely genius. It's really going to transform artistry as well as women. So check out her product line because those two things really stood out, and she's really hitting the market hard. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. And you're right about your eyebrows. I'm always like, man, eyebrows are so hard for me to, I mean, any makeup, this is, my ladies know makeup is not my specialty. So I love talking to people who get it like you do. That's so cool. That's great. Yeah, that you found something. And it's great to know that you've tried a lot of these products too. So you really can speak to how they actually are working, So that's great.
Yes. Well, makeup is expensive. It's an investment. Yes. You want to make sure that it performs well. I mean, I'm sure all of you, if you're in pageantry, you probably have a drawer full of makeup you don't use anymore. And, the options are there. You just have to be smart about understanding the product itself. Because it could be a money pit for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Like an endless, like, let me try this one. Let me try this one.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I love this. Okay, so what else can you tell us?
Oh, okay. I know we've all experienced this where your lips are so dry and then you put some like lip gloss and all of a sudden it's like peeling, right? The same goes with your skin. You have to make sure your skin is fresh and clean. So I always recommend a good facial. So if you have a photo shoot coming up or a big event like a pageant, make sure that you invest in a good facial, and also stay away from retinols a week before your event, because the retinols really promote the skin to peel, and you don't want the makeup to turn out like how your lips are. If they're chapped and you put lip gloss on your lips and it starts to peel, the same thing will happen with your makeup. So if you want super glowy skin, make sure you invest in a good facial and make sure that your skin is super clean, because then the makeup really soaks in and it just looks so beautiful. It's so beautiful on the skin. So that would be a good tip, is to take care of your skin and get a facial before a big event.
That's great. Good. And how long before a big event? Because I know a lot of people are scared to do a facial, like 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, even sometimes, because they break out. So how long before do you do it?
I would really check with your esthetician and see how your skin reacts to a facial. I really love the hydrofacials. It's cleansing and it's gentle enough where it removes the outer dead skin, but it doesn't cause any breakout for myself. So I would work with your esthetician to see exactly how your skin reacts to it. And I probably would start, from there, is to work with somebody who's a professional who understands your skin and how it reacts.
Yeah. Ask the expert.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
It's, that just right there is some excellent advice, to just go to the expert that you, and again, practice, right? It's like, do not do a facial week before your event if you've never, ever had a facial before, know, because you won't know how your skin will react, and neither will your esthetician, because they've never worked with your skin before. So it's like you have to do these routines as a part of self-care, as a part of maintenance, in order to, as you're preparing and as you are trying to understand, I really feel like oftentimes makeup can be, and just skincare in general, and really self-care in general, tends to be a lost self-development experience, because people don't realize that your self-care is a part of your personal development, and learning how to take care of yourself is part of personal development. And so sometimes, like you said, we don't know how everyone's skin is going to react differently. You've got to explore that, and you've got to learn for yourself and invest in your personal development so that you can learn that for yourself,
Oh, I love that you hit that. You talked about that. That was actually, I struggled with self-development and just taking care of myself. Believe it or not, ladies, I did. I really did. I put so much focus on just my everyday to-dos, and I wasn't taking care of my skin as much as I should have. And I remember early on in my journey, a lot of my captions were about valuing your time and putting yourself first, because that was something I truly was internally dealing with, is not feeling that guilt, guilt for spending an extra hour to go, do something for myself. And, while still maintaining all of my responsibilities. So absolutely, self-development requires you to put action to those thoughts and those words. If you really want to invest in yourself, you got to do something about it. Make a choice every single day.
That's true. Yes. And as a mom of 6, you have a lot of things to be balancing. So it certainly is something you got to prioritize,
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
That's wow. So, okay. So I'm going to give you a chance to give us like maybe 1 or 2 more if you've got them. And then we've got some questions coming in here too. So I would love, if you've got a little bit of extra time, it would be great to get to people's
I have
questions.
like a couple more. So, after this is all done, or after our interview's over with, if any of you guys have any questions, you can DM me or email me.
Yeah.
I would love to talk with you more, because I have a whole lot more too. So
good. Well, let's do
it. I love doing this.
Give it to me, girl.
Okay, so here's my favorite tip, and I brought it with me. So oftentimes, when you're wearing shirts like this and your makeup is done, you're thinking, how am I going to put that over my head? So I have a very good tip. You take a shower cap like this, and you literally are going to put it over your face. You don't do this around kids though. And you're going to put this over your face, and what you're going to do is you're going to slide it over, and it's not going to ruin your hair. It's not going to slide your makeup. It's fantastic. I often bring a shower cap with me when I'm trying on clothes or trying on gowns, for instance, because you don't want to transfer your makeup onto the clothing, especially if you're considering buying it, because we all know that it's annoying when you're looking at a shopping rack and it's makeup on it. You're like, it's no longer good enough. You know, even though you can clean it yourself, you're like, I'm not buying it because there's makeup on it. But this is a good tip, especially when you are competing in a pageant, so that when you're putting on your clothes, you're not transferring the makeup or messing up your beautifully styled hair that you spend a lot of money and time on.
That's good. That's a good one. I've always used a scarf, but then it gets all over the scarf. So I love this.
Right.
I never even thought about a shower cap. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that idea. Yeah, yeah. And then, okay, so then let me ask you this. When you go to get your makeup done somewhere, does the makeup artist, like, what should you be wearing already? Because then you got to take that thing off too, right? So what do you wear when you get your makeup done? And do you bring that, or does the makeup artist bring that?
So the makeup artist, sometimes they carry a robe, but it's really important for you to come prepared. So I always suggest my gals coming in a tank top or wearing like something that's a zip up. A lot of times, for instance, I will take my makeup from the head all the way down to the décolleté, or I'll say, hey, where's your neckline? Where does it hit? And sometimes I'll even, paint the shoulders, and that'll give you the most flawless look in your photos. And when you're walking up to someone, you're not seeing the start and end of makeup. As you all know, like, makeup just gives you like this blurring, flawless look. And can you imagine just only doing it up to your face and then the rest is like just pale or, doesn't have the same texture? So it's really important that you have, you're wearing clothes that allows the artist to draw on you and to paint beautiful colors all over you. And I love to highlight, the décolleté and pop out some muscles with the contour. So definitely wear clothing that allows the artist to work her magic.
That's good. Yes, I love that tip too. Okay, so I want to ask you about this because this is always something I've wondered. Actually, okay, two things.
Okay.
So when I go to a pageant and imagine I hire somebody, I'm competing, I'm hiring somebody to do my hair and makeup. Two questions I have for you is, how do you show gratitude to that person? I often bring a gift and leave a tip. Do you tip? Should you bring a gift? Is that going to make the makeup artist weird? Like, feel like, or are they going to say, dang, thank you, I like you? That's kind of piece one. And then promotion. So like when you have this beautiful thing on your, like this canvas that has now been designed on your body, I would imagine it's appropriate to tag, to promote the artist who did that artwork, because you're going to wash it off. It's not like a painting that lives on forever, right? Eventually it's going to get washed off. So a photo would do that. So how do you feel about those types of things, like promotion and support?
I believe in supporting small businesses and these artists. Believe it or not, it's really costly. The product cost, the travel costs, the hotel stay, their time away from their families. So it's really nice when you appreciate them by tagging them on a post. I think tips are great if it's a sponsorship, and gifts are not necessary. The cost that you're spending is it's expensive. Let's get real here, okay? I think the going rate for a week right now is about $3,500, and that's not cheap. I mean, you could buy a used car for your kid to go to college in, right? So I think if anything, make sure that you tag them and support their small business. And if you have a good experience with them, leave them a nice review and give them a comment. You guys, one thing about social media you have to realize is you're leaving like a virtual business card, okay? So every interaction that you have with someone, make sure that if it's a positive experience, you share that. And people really do feel that energy. Not only do you help the artist, but people recognize that you are an outstanding person, that you are easy to work with. Because believe me, there are a lot of people that are not easy to work with, okay? And if you have a great personality and you get along great with the artist, make sure that you shout them out and you support them, especially in our community, right? Like we need all the love and support we can get. So definitely tag.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's good. Yeah. To tag and support. And I like what, tying it back to what all of us are really trying to do. You ask any pageant girl, what are you trying? And she says, I'm empowering women. I want to empower women. Well, this is an easy, great way to do that, to show support and to truly give power. An empowered woman is the one that can give power to others. And so I think
True.
that's a great way to do it, is to tag and to share. And I want to also highlight what you said about if it's a sponsorship, to tip. And I think that that's really, I like that, because I feel like oftentimes sponsors are, they're giving of their time and of their energy. And so that can go a long way. Even something simple can go a long way. If you're not paying for this person to do that, they're sponsoring you, then yeah, I think that's a great thing. So,
Right.
I want to get to some questions. Do you have any other things you have to? Any other tips that are like burning that you're like, but wait, I gotta say this first.
This is
Tell
for
me.
my girls out there that are shopping for an artist, because I've been there as well. Just a little education here. Make sure that you really vet your artists prior to booking them, and that may require you to fly out to them or contact prior clients, because again, you're investing a lot of money and you're putting a lot of trust in their hands, because a lot of times girls will book an artist and never have worked with them. And then I've seen some negative experiences where, they don't like the shape of their eyebrows, or they didn't think the makeup application looked great, or they felt like they looked dry. So it's really important that if you're going to invest that kind of money and go to a nationals, especially, that you have that rapport with that artist, because the last thing you want to do is feel stressed out. A lot of ladies will also book in advance and get a test session with the artist, and work with them one-on-one to say like, hey, this is what I like, or this is what I don't like, or and you can have that open communication with them during like a test session, versus like, at the actual pageant and you're stressed on time and then you're just like so unhappy with the look. It just makes the relationship difficult, and the energy is harsh, and then you don't feel your best. So my advice is to make sure you vet your makeup artist and make sure that you are completely comfortable and you know what the looks will look like prior to being in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's brilliant. Yes. Again, practice.
Right.
Yes. It's like that is a great tip, because I've had makeup artists where, I went to a city and I couldn't do a trial. And then this happened to me when I was on the Steve Harvey show, and they said that I didn't have to come with hair and makeup, but I was like, I'm not leaving that to chance. But I ended up hiring an artist that was in Chicago. That's when their studio was in Chicago at the time. And I got it done. And there were just things I was like, oh, I would have done this differently. And I wasn't able to redo it. And I wasn't able to get there early enough to do a test the day before and all of this. But I was so glad I wasn't competing at Mrs. World at the time, because I was like, this wouldn't be exactly how I would want it to be,
Right.
So yeah, that test is so great. I'm thinking of one other thing before we get to people's questions. And ladies, as you have questions, now is a great time to pop them in the chat, because we've got about 15 more minutes with Jennifer here. So if you've got questions, pop them in the chat. I am watching that. We're going to get to them. But before we do, I wanted to ask you about entourage, because I know a lot of pageant girls, especially teens, they roll deep. They got the boyfriend, they got the fluffy doggy, they got mom and dad, and everybody comes with them. And I know when I've had makeup done, especially at pageant week, the room is like so crowded. And so what do you recommend for the entourage?
Right. So this is a touchy subject because I have so many kids, you guys, but you have to remember that when you are at a pageant, this is your moment and you want to eliminate any distractions. Okay. So, and that includes, and this is so hard, parents. I know I'm a parent too. But it's really important that the artist has the calm space to work with around. And not to say that your parent is distracting, but again, we're usually working in tight spaces, and it's really important that the focus is on the client. So I highly suggest that parents would wait outside the room, and some parents would be offended by that. But this is really, you're investing all this money for your child to get the best services, the best support. So it's really important that she is the focus in the room and not the parent. The other thing is boyfriends, okay? Like, boyfriends do not belong anywhere near a girl sitting in a makeup chair, okay? So no boyfriends, no pets, and no drama, please.
No drama. That's a life tip right there.
Right. I had AirPods in my ear a lot of the time when I was, doing my makeup, or I'm a person who loves to listen to worship music because it actually gives me like a lot of like strength. And, if you have like a certain type of music or maybe an audio book or something like that that gives you strength and helps you to stay calm and focused, I highly suggest, plugging those AirPods in your ear and let the artist work on you, and you'll feel like so empowered at the very end. Instead of, listening to all the hustle and bustle, you could be focused on what you're there to do.
That's great. Yeah, that's good. That's great advice. Awesome. Wow. Jennifer, this is so good. Oh my gosh, I feel like I learned so much.
I'm having the best time ever. Like, this could go on and on and on.
I feel like it could. I know. I seriously feel like it could too. Well, we're not done yet. We've got a bunch of really great questions that I think you're going to have awesome answers to. I'm excited to learn these answers as well. So one of the first questions that came in is about women that have dark skin. Okay. So like dark skin. Do you recommend a spray tan? Like, does a black woman need to be getting a spray tan, especially if she's got very dark black skin, or not? And how does that show up differently on stage? If so, what should it look like? What do you recommend?
Absolutely not. A spray tan is optional. Women who have lighter skin, when you're on stage and the lights are blasting on you, it really washes you out. So for women who are of lighter skin, I think it's really important that you are able to highlight your curves and show that you're healthy and glowing. So a spray tan is actually going to be beneficial. But for women of color, absolutely not. I think good hydration is so sexy, and you don't have to add anything else than that. Just beautiful color on stage is plenty enough. One tip I do have for women of color is to make sure that your artist matches your skin tone, because oftentimes if it's too gray, it'll show with a gray undertone. So I'm a woman of color, and for years and years I used translucent powder. It gives you a great blurred finish, and especially if you get oily like myself. It doesn't pile on and look cakey. So Laura Mercier came up with a new color combination. This one's called Translucent Medium Deep, and this is really great for women of color. Of course, you can't see that. So she also has another one that is called Translucent Honey, and that's what I use because I'm more of, there's my camera. I'm more of a yellow undertone. And then also she has a translucent one, which is her famous one. It's more of a whiter tone. So again, make sure that when you're on stage, that your skin shows beautifully and that you're using the right products to help enhance that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I love that. And thanks for sharing that those were that I was sharing that's the one I use too, but I love that's, there's different, you have to find the one that fits you best. And it's, what I have found is that not all makeup artists are able to do the full range of skin tones. So I think that especially for the skin tones that are unlike the artist or unlike who the artist normally works with, you have to find somebody that's going to be a good fit, and a trial can help that out too, because then you ensure that the makeup artist has a wide variety of any colors for any skin tone. Everyone's skin tone is so different that it does require that, but especially for women of color, because the canvas is different.
Right.
So
you
that's
could
great.
also require or request the client to bring their own foundation. So if you're a woman of color and you know your color palette, bring your foundation with you, because not all artists have a full collection. I prefer NARS. I love NARS when I'm doing artistry, and they have every single color on the planet. And I know that I'm able to match any skin tone, but if you are ever weary about an artist, make sure you bring your own concealer, bring your own foundation.
That's great. And it could be great to even just bring his backup. Just to have
Right.
it, just to have it, just in case. Yep.
Exactly.
I like that. So NARS, that was actually Cindy was asking, how do you feel about Airbrush Foundation? Like, what type of foundation do you think is best, especially for pageant makeup?
Right. So I have a brand called Temp 2. It's a professional grade airbrush. I love it. The only downside is it's long wearing, but the only downside is that it's more matte, and once it goes on, it's on. You can't apply anything wet to it. So everything has to be powdered. So if you're using that airbrush and it dries, it's pretty much set. It's great, but I don't like that it's not flexible. I like the flexibility, because when I do makeup artistry, I'll start it off, maybe lighter in the morning, and then I'll kind of build as I'm going out through the day. And I like the flexibility, but everybody's different. And airbrush does show beautifully as well. You could still get a flawless finish by using a beauty blender and using the right products. One of my favorites has to be NARS, because especially the sheer color combination, because it goes on so beautifully, and it's buildable. And that's what I'm wearing right now. Another brand that I absolutely love, and I actually have my makeup kit right here, and this is a higher end brand. It's the Giorgio Armani. This is going to cost you a little bit more, but this has a luminous finish. It's absolutely stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
Thanks for sharing specific products. It's so good to be, because these are going to be things that get added to our makeup drawer that we try later. You know, like, okay, let me try that. But it's also, you got to do it, right? You got to try it too to know.
Right.
So trial and error.
You guys can go to Nordstrom's or a higher end department store and go to those counters. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Ask them for samples. Ask them that you're, tell them that you're interested in their product line. It's like, hey, can I get a sample of the concealer? Can I get a sample of the foundation? And try it out at home and see what you think.
Yeah,
and that's how the only way you're going to learn what works best on your skin. Try it out.
So true. That's great. I want to ask you just, we've got a lot of questions coming in, but one that I think that I definitely want to get to is this. When someone is competing in a pageant and it is out of their home state, they got to travel to get there, and there is no makeup artist there or associated with the pageant. So, but they want to hire somebody. What do you recommend in terms, you already kind of recommended, like, vet the person. If you can travel there earlier, do it, but what about if somebody wants to hire that artist to come to the pageant? What is expected in terms of cost? I imagine they would have to pay for travel perhaps, or an overnight stay, in addition to the makeup artist work itself. How do you recommend navigating that?
Right. First, give yourself a lot of time finding your artist, number one. Okay. Don't wait till the last minute, because artists are generally booked out months and months in advance, especially with pageants going all year long. So make sure that you contact them well in advance, and also have an open discussion about what their travel needs are. For instance, most pageants are held in hotels, and of course, you have to account for the room cost, as well as their travel time, and then how many days will they be doing your makeup for, and would that be morning, midday, and evening? And your artist will work out a budget with you, and don't be surprised if it's a lot more than you expect, because at the end of the day, they have to make a profit. And if you believe in their work and you trust them, it's worth the investment. I did my own makeup, you guys, at Mrs. World, and I thought it was very successful. And and I want to empower all of you too, that you could do it yourself as well. Take the time to learn, and maybe invest in makeup application lessons prior to your trip, so that you're more empowered. Sometimes I've seen girls go get their makeup done and then go in the bathroom and wash it off, or they complain and say, oh my gosh, I could do it so much better. And it does happen. I've seen it happen myself. So, there's nothing wrong with taking the time, investing in yourself, buying the proper tools. I mean, if you're going to invest thousands of dollars in an artist, why don't you spend that money buying the proper tools, getting the lessons, buying the products that work. That way you can do it anytime, anywhere, any place, and you're completely empowered to doing it on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. That's excellent advice to end on, which is simply just empower yourself, find the resources, find the tools of the things that you need to do. And if you've got the budget for it and you want to hire someone and you want to, or just for the experience, it's kind of fun to do that, then I think, and it's fun to see how other artists do your makeup and stuff. Then I think that's excellent. So I want to share with people before we go how they can reach out to you. I'm going to post your Instagram again, the link the comments here for us, so people can reach out to you. And ladies, if you are not yet following Jennifer, I highly recommend it. It's Mrs. Jennifer E. Lloyd _artistry. That's her makeup account. You can also find her at Mrs. Korea World, because that is her pageant one. So I would highly encourage that. And now, Jennifer, if people are in Washington or willing to visit Washington State, and they would like to work with you, what is the best way for them to reach out? Because I know sometimes DMs get to be chaos and it's hard to find, scroll through and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Can you share what is the very best way to get in touch with you? And I'm going to put this in.
Well, I appreciate all of you guys tuning in today. And I'm so looking forward to hearing from you, whether if you have a question about makeup or about my schedule, or maybe you're interested in booking with me or learning more about just who I am. Give me an email. Shoot me out an email at mrsjennifereloyd@gmail.com. It's on my Instagram handles. I'd love to hear from you. I definitely appreciate being part of the community and pouring into the lives of others. And my artistry and my mission is to make sure that all of you feel beautiful and confident. And I'm so blessed to be in this position, and I would be humbled to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Well, I want to just take a moment to honor you, because you have come to this live training looking spectacular. And y'all know, even for a makeup artist, it is effort. It's effort to put yourself together, to choose the perfect outfit, to do all the things, to prepare these tips, to bring all of the things that she brought in front so that she could show you how to do the shower cap and show you how to do all these things. This takes work and preparation, and it's coming on the heels of a very big international pageant, Mrs. World. And so, and all of that, I'm sure that there was a lot of preparation and stress, and even just in the packing and then the unpacking and wanting to spend time with family and all of these things. But ladies, I want you to know that she is here for you. She's doing this for you, and she has a heart for women that is so evident and so obvious to me, even from the moment that we met at the Global Beauty Awards in their inaugural year. I've seen that in you. And I think the industry is also very aware of that, as evidenced by all of the awards that you've received, not just Global Beauty Awards, but others as well. And so I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time to be here with us today. You are so easy to talk to. You're so down to earth. You are truly the example of a queen. So thank you so much for joining us today, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for sharing your light with everyone. I have your book.
Oh, wonderful.
I love your book. Yes, but I have always admired your leadership. And that's what's really important here, is that we provide leadership for others and in space. And just want to let all you ladies know that we're always going to pull up a chair for you, and we're always going to be your biggest fans. So keep striving for your goals and never give up on those big dreams that you have. You have a team of women. And look, this is a free course for you. And I'm so thankful that I could be part of this. Thank you very much.